Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we're going to talk about the two most important keys to helping you manage a vendor. Hey guys, ECRG here, and today we're going to talk about two major keys to manage a vendor more effectively. Now, a lot of you guys may have had a vendor management experience. You may have had a lot of it. You may have had not much of it, but we're not going to get too much into the details of, managing different vendors on a project or something. We're just going to keep it basic with something that maybe everyone has done, and that's managing a print vendor. Very easy, very simple. May have done this in your entry-level job in clinical research or any type of field for that matter, managing someone printing lots of files for you. So the first thing you've got to keep in mind is you've got to build rapport with the vendor. And this usually comes about in a couple of ways. One, the vendor is usually someone your company has worked with previously. So that already has a certain level of relationship. For example, when I was doing printing for my studies, the vendor had worked with our company for 20 years. So they had a good rapport with them already, a good strong rapport. And that kind of set the foundation. We were one of their trusted clients. They relied on us, we relied on them. It was a good mutual relationship. And so that relationship was already started on for a foundation for which the two people, myself and the other person managing the project, how we would interact throughout the process. So that was number one. So the companies together had a rapport. Then the second part about that is myself, the person managing the vendor, and the vendor themselves, the person who's actually going to be doing the printing. That's a relationship in and of itself too. So you've got to really build a rapport with that person, because the better that rapport is, the better and smoother the process is going to go. For example, there was one time when they didn't provide any boxes for me to ship these binders with that they were printing for us. And he threw them in at no extra cost because of the rapport we had built up, because of all the back and forth, because of how easy I was to work with, because of how nice and grateful I was of his work. Always show gratitude to these people. You may think just because you're paying them that you can act any kind of way to these people, or just because he's a printer for that matter, you can act any kind of way to these people. Absolutely not. These people serve a very important purpose for your project, so you need to treat them as such. And that kind of goes into building a rapport with that person. And just being as nice and as courteous as possible, and doing your due diligence to make the process as easy as possible. So that goes into building rapport with that person. Oftentimes they'll bend over backwards to help you. They'll fix any mistakes that happen. For example, we were supposed to be sending an extra binder along with the ISF binder, and they had forgotten to make them. So I called him up and I told him, hey, you guys forgot to make these and send these over. And he got right on it. And I called him at the end of the day on Friday. And so he was helping manage the situation when he was off of work. And that just goes to show how good of a rapport we had, that he was willing to fix the situation even when he was no longer working. So he could have waited till Monday, but no, he wanted to make sure the situation was fixed on Friday, right when I called him. And that's something that only is going to happen if you have a good rapport with somebody. If you're a jerk and you're talking down on them and you're not easy to work with, they're not going to pick up the phone when you call on a Friday. And they're definitely not going to call you back after you've called and they're not working anymore. You can go ahead and kiss that goodbye. They're going to wait until Monday or Tuesday to deal with you. So you got to make sure that you are really building a rapport. That's first and foremost, because humans are primarily social creatures, so everything always comes back to how we are socially. That's very important. Build rapport, number one. The second thing you've got to keep in mind, and I'm going to just call this one ducks in a row. And this kind of goes into, you wanting to be organized, make sure that all of your materials on your end are good. Make sure that you have your ducks in a row. And just to use the printer example again, we had created a tracker kind of, or a spreadsheet, if you will, of all the documents you wanted to be printed and instructions in there. So do we want them double-sided? Do we want them black and white? Do we want them hole punched? Obviously they're going in an ISF binder, so they're going to be hole punched. Do we want them color, etc., etc.? Do we want 2 slides to a page for the SIV slides? Do we want, those double-sided? All those kind of instructions and particulars that may go into a binder. So we had all of that in a tracker, so it was easy to follow. And then for the actual files I sent him, I put each of those into an individual folder. So for section 1, we put all of the section 1 stuff in there. For section 2, we put all the section 2 stuff in there. We made it nice and easy for him to follow, making his job easier. And so they really appreciate that when you make their job easier. So, that's going to do a couple things. It's going to help increase the rapport, because everyone else is making their job harder. Well, he's going to work harder for you because you're making his job easier. So, that's going to help increase the rapport. 2, he's going to do a better job on your stuff and spend more time on it because it's easier. We like to typically go the path of least resistance. Well, yours is the least resistant because it's easy. And, the turnaround time is usually going to be faster. So it's just going to be an overall better experience for everybody if you've got all of your ducks in a row. If you've got all of your stuff neatly organized, and it's just going to be so much better experience. So that's the second thing. Make sure your ducks are in a row. And so those are the 2 main tips I have for helping to manage a vendor. And those are very important tips. And, just make sure you follow those. Those aren't really, nitty-gritty tips, just kind of high-level overview of how to better manage that relationship with the vendor. And that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. Just wanted to give you guys those 2 tips. And if you like this video, go ahead and like it. Comment down below what tips you guys have for helping to manage vendors, and also comment down below what other videos you would like to see on this channel. So 2 things to comment down below. Go ahead and share this video with everybody you know. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification squad button. That's the bell right next to the red subscribe button. And email us at eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com for any inquiries you may have. All right, guys, take care.